top stories of the day. The asbestos corruption case in the Free State. ANC members in that province just concluded a media briefing reacting to that case being postponed until February. Those ANC members are calling for those involved in corruption in the province to be brought to book. They say the allegations are dividing the party. For the latest on this, we go live now to our reporter Tumaole Mohlaoli, following the story for us in Mangaung. Tumaole, good afternoon to you. What's the latest from there?
Very good afternoon, Stephen. The latest from here is basically the members of the ANC, led by Mr. Mxolisi Dukwana, just outlining their plan of action when it comes to their highly anticipated court appearance in the asbestos corruption matter of ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule. That is scheduled to be this Friday, so all eyes will be here on Mangaung as Magashule takes to the dock for the first time in what many people are seeing as a bold move to try and hold those who are implicated in corrupt practices, or at least those who are facing allegations of having been involved in graft, even those who are in the higher echelons of the ruling party. He will be now appearing before court. But let's hear from Mr. Dukwana in terms of where things stand. During the press conference earlier, you stated that what has happened now, coming off of 2012 specifically, you had a leadership struggle, a leadership issue whereby you had members from different factions, so to speak, going into the NEC, and this has led to what the situation is right now. How do you rationalize that?
As we said earlier on that this is a struggle that goes a long time ago, from 2012. Where members of the ANC who saw that tendencies were now coming in and creeping into the organization as we were preparing to go for a conference in 2012. And we raised issues with the leadership internally, etc., but nothing was done about that. And instead, they endorsed the fraudulently elected PEC. And members of the ANC took the ANC to court, and that was nullified by the Constitutional Court. And instead of the National Executive Committee taking a bold decision and becoming decisive and following on these matters, especially bringing to book and cautioning members of the National Executive Committee deployed in the Free State about the report that they presented, which came out to be not truthful, and acting on them, and also making sure that they follow all the allegations that we had put and correct the organization. We believe had action been taken then, we will not be sitting with the situation we are sitting with now. And that has brought us to a situation where we believe that as members of the ANC, we can no longer sit down and hope that things will become better, because we have tried everything. But it seems that people are hell-bent in ensuring that the ANC that we know ceases to exist, and the ANC that they want to build emerges. And this is one thing that we're not going to allow to see happening.
Right, and you have made a call to the rank and file across the province to come out in their numbers ahead of Mr. Magashule's court appearance on Friday. We know, of course, that during this time of COVID-19, there are strict restrictions in terms of public gatherings. Have you had discussions with law enforcement agencies? What will be the restrictions, if any, and how will you then manage that situation? You've highlighted in the press briefing that you expect an overwhelming turnout, because you say people in the province have, for the longest time, felt hard done by the administration and some of the issues that have been happening in the province linked to Mr. Magashule, and you feel that they have an opportunity to have an outpouring of emotion. How are you going to manage these particular contradictions, if I can put it that way?
I think the COVID situation demands that we also should be very creative in dealing with situations and express views as members in terms of mobilization, etc. Like we did today, we made sure that we limit the number of people who would be naturally interested in coming, so that we don't end up with big numbers. But we know that, as we said yesterday, and we're saying today, immediately that there was this report that ACE will be appearing on Friday, there has been an interest from members of the ANC who have been waiting for this moment to arrive, and who would want to see for themselves, who would want to come. We have made a call today that we will be back on Friday. But also we are mindful of the fact that the national leadership has actually issued a statement, and it is for that reason that as this collective we will sit down and look into what needs to happen following the press release by the leadership, and then take it from there.
All right. And in terms of the appearance again of Ms. Mohlaoli on Friday, having stated that you will take cognizance of what the national leadership say, what is some of the reaction you are getting from the ground? You mentioned also that people in regions such as Thabo Mofokeng municipality have been celebrating. What are they saying when you say they're celebrating?
I mean, we had received reports that people went out in the streets celebrating the news. And as this leadership, as these people, we cannot be happy when some of the people that we call leaders are actually arrested. But it calls on to a position that a member of the ANC, especially a leader of the ANC, should conduct himself in a manner that brings dignity into the organization. And the moral standing of a person should reflect the values of the ANC. So once that dichotomy arises, where you see a leader of the ANC being accused for wrongdoing, and then you see people excited, it tells you there's something wrong that needs to be corrected. And in this case, we're asking our leaders to do a self-introspection and ask themselves if their values are actually in tandem with the values of the ANC, and whatever they do and whatever they did as leaders in different offices reflects what the ANC as an organization demands of its members. And if you feel that it is not what is expected, we believe that any respective member of the ANC charged in this way will actually put the ANC first and understand that they are not above the ANC, and that it is not for us to protect individuals, but to protect the image and the integrity of the ANC. And these leaders will show us, will act by example, and step aside to ensure that the ANC is actually saved in this way.
And very quickly, Mr. Dukwana, the ANC provincially here in the Free State has come out and leveled some very harsh criticism to this process, saying that you are acting beyond the structures of the ANC, and that the ANC provincially is cognizant of what is happening, and they would prefer for matters that relate to the ANC to be dealt with internally. Basically saying that you are a rogue faction that is trying to get legitimacy of what is happening to Mr. Ace Mohlaoli. What is your response to the provincial ANC's assertions?
We are not surprised. I mean, they have never exercised any independence in providing leadership, and they have been installed by ACE, and they will do whatever ACE says. And that is why we're saying these are not leaders, in fact, of the ANC elected in a properly constituted conference of the ANC. Hence, this process is also being challenged. There is a court process that is challenging the existence of this fraudulent PEC. And we have tried, despite our reservations of the existence, we have tried to ensure that we have cordial discussions to ensure that we move the province forward. But they've demonstrated and indicated to us without fail that this is not what they want, because to them a weak ANC serves them better. But we believe that we need a strong ANC, and a strong ANC is not going to come with them in the leadership. And we believe that the genuine members of the ANC will elect leadership of the ANC in a proper fashion. That way all those will be respected.
So Dukwana, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for your time. That was Mxolisi Dukwana just giving us an overview of some of the main points that were touched upon during this press briefing here. And again, it comes within the context of Ace Magashule, the Secretary General of the ruling party. He's expected, of course, to appear in court here in Mangaung on Friday. So these were some of the views that were expressed. And of course, again, we see a situation where there's divisions within the ruling party. Of course, with the provincial ANC throwing some shade and criticism at Mr. Dukwana and what he is doing in terms of speaking out and calling for a renewal of the ANC and calling for those he says have hijacked the movement to basically be pushed out and for people to restore the image and restore what the ANC stood for. And so this is what's happening. This back and forth is playing out as we anticipate that appearance by Ace Magashule before the Mangaung Magistrates Court. With that, it's back to you in the studio.
Tumaole Mohlaoli, thank you very much indeed. All right, do appreciate that update.